Why does the world respect some men and destroy others? Because in this life, you are either the predator or you are the prey. The world doesn't care about your dreams, your kindness, or your intentions. It respects leverage. It respects strength. It respects what it fears losing or fears provoking. That is the brutal truth Machiavelli exposed centuries ago, and it is more relevant today than ever. Power is not given, it is taken, and once taken, it must be protected with vigilance, calculation, and cold resolve. You see, weakness is not forgiven. It is hunted. The moment you falter, the moment you reveal uncertainty, the world sharpens its teeth. Respect is not a gift, it is enforced. Survival is not passive, it is commanded. This is where you must choose to remain soft, disposable, and forgotten, or to become untouchable, respected, and feared. The choice demands discipline, strategy, and the ruthless clarity to see human nature as it truly is, not as you wish it to be. This is the Machiavellian mind, and today you will learn the laws that decide whether the world respects you or destroys you. Comment below, I choose power. Number 1. The law of perception. Respect is never about who you are, but who they believe you are. Power is perception, and perception is reality. If people perceive you as weak, they will treat you like prey. If they perceive you as dangerous, disciplined, and untouchable, they will respect you, even if they despise you. Machiavelli understood this. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Because fear anchors respect, while love drifts on emotion. Your value in this world is not defined by your inner qualities, but by the image you project, the weight of your presence, the silence that follows your words. The world tests you daily, watching for cracks in your armor, for signs of hesitation, for moments of softness they can exploit. You must decide what impression you leave behind every time you enter a room. A lion walks in with quiet authority. A sheep walks in looking for approval. Which are you? Understand this. Respect is engineered. It is not an accident. You manufacture it through control, through decisiveness, through the discipline of never showing weakness publicly. The man who controls perception controls the battlefield. If you understand this, comment below, I am the lion. Number 2. The brutality of human nature. Human beings are not noble by default. They are selfish, envious, and opportunistic. Strip away the politeness of society, and you'll see the truth. People respect what benefits them and destroy what threatens or embarrasses them. This is the dark psychology Machiavelli carved into his writings, the recognition that men act from fear, greed, and ambition more than from honor or virtue. Never confuse civility with loyalty. Most people smile because they need something from you, and the moment you no longer serve their interests, their smile fades into indifference, or worse, hostility. This is why weakness is a death sentence. To show mercy without leverage, to give without boundaries, to trust without caution, these are invitations for betrayal. You must internalize this. Loyalty lasts only as long as the benefits last. That is why you must make yourself indispensable, or make yourself feared. If you depend on their goodwill, you will be crushed. If you depend on their respect for your strength, you will endure. The world is not kind, it is calculating. Those who survive are the ones who look at human beings as they are, not as they pretend to be. Accept this brutal truth, and you'll never be blindsided again. Comment below, I see the truth. Number 3. The currency of power. Power is the only true currency, and everything else, respect, loyalty, love, admiration, flows from it or collapses without it. You cannot buy lasting influence with kindness, generosity, or moral purity. You can only sustain it with power and the constant reminder that to cross you carries a cost. Men are loyal to advantage. Women are drawn to dominance. Enemies retreat from strength. Without power, you are negotiating from weakness, and weakness invites exploitation. Understand this. Power is not always loud. It is often silent, hidden behind the eyes of the man who knows he has leverage. A king doesn't scream to prove he is king. His presence commands the room before he speaks. You build power by controlling your emotions, mastering your image, and placing yourself in positions where others must depend on you more than you depend on them. You maintain power by being unpredictable, decisive, and ruthless when necessary. Show mercy as strategy, never as habit. Show kindness only when it amplifies your control, never when it drains your strength. In this life, you either hold power or you are controlled by those who do. There is no middle ground. Comment below, I choose dominance. Number 4, the ruthlessness of strategy. Every man who desires respect must understand that strategy is war, even in times of peace. You are not simply living, you are positioning. Every decision, every alliance, every word you speak is a move on the board, and those who fail to plan are played like pawns by those who do. Machiavelli taught that fortune favors the man who dares, but daring without calculation is suicide. Strategy demands patience, foresight, and the ability to sacrifice comfort for long-term victory. You must be willing to cut ties when they weaken you, betray those who plot against you before they strike, and appear loyal while advancing your own agenda. The weak man reacts emotionally. The strong man anticipates and maneuvers. To command respect, you must operate as though every interaction has stakes, because it does. People are constantly assessing your moves, your confidence, your words, your silence. If you act impulsively, they'll exploit it. If you act predictably, they'll trap you. But if you operate with cold precision, you become a player they fear to cross. Ruthlessness is not cruelty for its own sake. It is the refusal to compromise your mission for the comfort of others. A strategist knows when to conceal his hand, when to strike with speed, and when to hold back and let his enemy destroy himself. Your goal is not simply to win, it is to remain untouchable. That requires you to embrace patience when others rush, clarity when others panic, and discipline when others collapse. Every step must strengthen your position or weaken theirs. This is how kings are made and how empires are maintained. Remember, respect comes from those who see you as inevitable, untouchable, and above the petty chaos of lesser men. If you understand, comment below, I move with precision. Number 5, the power of fear. Fear is the most reliable weapon in human psychology because it penetrates deeper than love, loyalty, or admiration. People can love you today and envy you tomorrow. They can admire you in public and undermine you in secret, but fear binds them with invisible chains they dare not break. Machiavelli was clear, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both, because fear ensures obedience when emotions falter. Respect built on charm and generosity collapses the moment you can no longer provide. Respect built on fear remains even in your absence. Understand this. Fear is not about rage, noise, or brutality. It is about consequence. It is the unspoken awareness that to cross you would cost more than anyone is willing to pay. Fear does not require constant displays of violence. It requires consistency, decisiveness, and the willingness to strike when boundaries are tested. Once people see you act without hesitation, they will think twice before challenging you again. The mistake weak men make is confusing likability with power. They beg for approval, and in doing so, they erase their authority. Do not beg, do not explain, do not justify. Let your actions declare that your respect is earned, never given freely. To cultivate fear is to cultivate longevity. It ensures silence when enemies whisper, hesitation when rivals scheme, and compliance when subordinates falter. You do not need to make everyone fear you, only enough that your reputation precedes you. The shadow of fear is often more effective than fear itself because men destroy themselves imagining the consequences of provoking you. Harness it, master it, and carry it with calm control. This is not cruelty, it is survival. Comment below, I command fear. Number 6, the mask of control. Control is the foundation of lasting power, but the true master never reveals the extent of his control. He hides it behind a mask. Every great ruler, every feared leader, every untouchable man has worn one. Why? Because power is most effective when it is concealed, when others cannot see where your influence begins and where it ends. The mask of control is the ability to appear calm while chaos burns around you, to appear composed when enemies expect you to break, to appear indifferent while secretly pulling the strings. People trust what they can see, but they fear what they cannot measure. A man who loses his temper reveals his weakness, but a man who stays silent while calculating leaves others uncertain and insecure. Uncertainty breeds hesitation, and hesitation grants you leverage. The mask of control also protects you from unnecessary enemies. Show people everything you think, feel, and plan, and they will use it against you. Conceal your true self, and they stumble in the dark while you move with clarity. This does not mean you suppress all emotion. It means you weaponize it. Show anger when it benefits you, not when you feel it. Show kindness when it strengthens your image, not when it weakens your authority. Appear approachable when you want to draw others in. Appear cold when you want to distance them. Appear loyal when you want them blind to your ambition. The mask is not deception for its own sake. It is protection, camouflage, and strategy. Behind it, you remain untouchable because no one can predict your next move. Remember, transparency is weakness in a world where men hunt for flaws. Control is not about manipulating every external event. It is about mastering your inner self so completely that nothing shakes you. Nothing rattles you, nothing forces you to reveal your hand before you are ready. To cultivate this mask, you must train your mind to detach from impulse, to pause before reaction, to respond only when it amplifies your influence. The man who wears the mask of control is the man others fear to test because they cannot tell whether his smile is genuine or a warning. He becomes an enigma, a shadow, a force that commands respect simply because no one knows how far his power truly reaches. Comment below, I wear the mask. Number 7. The discipline of silence. Silence is one of the deadliest weapons in the arsenal of power because it denies others the ammunition they crave. The weak man speaks to fill the void, blurting out his fears, his plans, his insecurities, his ambitions, thinking that words prove strength, but every word is a blade that can be turned against him. The strong man, the Machiavellian mind, understands that silence is not emptiness, it is control. When you are silent, people reveal themselves. They scramble to fill the void with their own thoughts, their own nervousness, their own confessions. You learn more by listening than you ever do by speaking. Silence makes others uncomfortable, and in that discomfort, they expose their weaknesses. They interpret your silence in 100 ways. Some will think you are wise, others will think you are dangerous, and others will fear that you know more than you let on. And that is the point. Silence allows others to project their own doubts, their own fears, their own imaginations onto you, while you remain impenetrable. Machiavelli understood that a prince must know when to speak and when to stay silent, for silence protects authority. Do not reveal your intentions until they are irreversible. Do not justify your decisions to those unworthy of explanation. Do not expose your strategy before the execution. The man who controls his tongue controls his fate, because the tongue is the fastest traitor a man can have. Silence is not weakness, it is a storm held back. A weapon unsheathed only when necessary. Learn to enjoy the discomfort silence brings to others, because in their discomfort lies your dominance. Discipline yourself to resist the urge to explain, to correct, to win arguments with words. True victory is not in the debate, it is in the results. Let your actions thunder louder than any speech. A man who can endure silence is a man who cannot be manipulated. He is unreadable, unshakable, untouchable. Speak rarely, speak precisely, and when you do speak, make every word strike with weight, purpose, and consequence. This is how kings speak, and this is why they are remembered long after the chatter of lesser men is forgotten. Comment below. My silence is power. Number 8. The necessity of cruelty. Cruelty is a word the weak despise because they misunderstand it. They imagine cruelty as blind violence, sadism, or reckless brutality. But the Machiavellian truth is this: cruelty, when applied with precision, is a tool of order, control, and survival. Without it, chaos devours kingdoms, weakens authority, and invites rebellion. Machiavelli himself wrote that cruelty, if well used, can secure power and even create stability, while misplaced mercy only emboldens traitors and rivals. The uncomfortable reality is that human beings respond to consequences far more than they do to compassion. Show kindness without strength, and you will be seen as exploitable. Show cruelty with purpose, and you will be respected, feared, and remembered. Cruelty is necessary not because you must enjoy it, but because the world demands it at times when weakness will cost you everything. The ruthless leader does not hesitate to cut off diseased limbs to save the body, to remove disloyal followers to protect the core, to punish betrayal with decisiveness so that others never consider crossing him. Injustice is inevitable in life, but far more dangerous than occasional cruelty is the endless disorder that comes from soft leadership. The man who refuses cruelty at the right time is not noble. He is naive, and his naivete will be punished by the very people he tried to protect. This is not about becoming a tyrant. It is about becoming unyielding when the situation demands it. Think of history's strongest rulers. They were not loved for their mercy. They were respected for their decisiveness. Fear of consequence keeps men obedient when their loyalty falters, and a single act of cruelty, delivered swiftly and justly, often prevents countless betrayals in the future. Mercy, on the other hand, when misplaced, encourages disobedience because people believe your kindness is weakness. Understand this distinction. Cruelty should be rare, strategic, and purposeful. It should not be sloppy, nor should it be personal. It should be calculated. A single decisive act of punishment is worth more than 100 speeches. It burns itself into memory. It echoes as a warning, and that warning ensures order far longer than kindness ever could. The man who masters cruelty is not enslaved by it. He wields it like a blade, unsheathed only when necessary, then returned to its sheath before it corrodes his soul. To fear using cruelty is to hand your enemies the knife. To wield it without hesitation and without remorse when justified is to declare that your respect is not negotiable. You must remember, the world does not care about your innocence. It only respects your power to defend what is yours. That defense sometimes requires cruelty, and the man unwilling to use it will always kneel before the man who does. Comment below. I embrace necessary cruelty. Number 9. The fortress of detachment. Detachment is the highest form of strength, the fortress that shields you from the chaos of emotions, the storms of betrayal, and the illusions that weaken men. Most men are slaves to their feelings. They chase validation, they beg for love, they crumble under rejection, they erupt in anger when provoked, and they drown in despair when abandoned. This slavery to emotion makes them predictable, and predictable men are easy to manipulate and destroy. The Machiavellian mind, however, understands that to be respected, you must first master yourself. Detachment is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of it. It is the ability to feel anger without being ruled by it, to feel love without becoming dependent on it, to feel ambition without rushing blindly into traps. Detachment is seeing people as they are, not as you wish them to be. It is knowing that loyalty is conditional, that affection is fleeting, and that most relationships are built on convenience, not devotion. When you grasp this, betrayal no longer surprises you, rejection no longer wounds you, and praise no longer blinds you. You become untouchable because nothing external has power over your inner state. This is the fortress that no enemy can breach, your unshakable self-control. Detachment gives you clarity. When others panic, you remain calm. When others beg, you negotiate. When others collapse, you advance. In a world ruled by manipulation, the detached man is the rare one who cannot be bought, cannot be blackmailed, cannot be baited into traps because he has severed the strings others use to control him. He does not need constant approval. He does not need endless comfort. He does not need to be understood. He needs only his mission, his discipline, and his unbreakable will. This terrifies people because most men are open books, driven by predictable desires. But the detached man is a fortress of stone. His silence unnerves, his indifference disarms, his refusal to react makes him incomprehensible. This is why detachment is power. When you no longer depend on anyone, when you no longer chase external validation, when you no longer fear loss, you become impossible to control. Machiavelli himself warned against trusting the loyalty of men bound only by affection. He knew that fortune shifts, and with it, loyalty. But the detached man relies on no one, and therefore, no one can destroy him. Build this fortress brick by brick, discipline your impulses, sever your dependency on praise, detach from the need to be liked, and focus relentlessly on outcomes, not feelings. When you master detachment, you stand above the noise of the world, untouchable, feared, and respected. Comment below, I am untouchable. Number 10. The legacy of power. In the end, power is not simply about surviving the present. It is about shaping the future, about leaving behind a legacy that endures long after your voice has gone silent. Weak men are forgotten the moment they fall, their names erased by time, their lives dissolved into insignificance. But the man of power, the Machiavellian mind, ensures his mark cannot be erased. Legacy is not built on fleeting pleasures or momentary victories. It is built on discipline, fear, strategy, and the cold resolve to carve your name into the memory of those who dared to know you. Machiavelli understood that a ruler's reputation outlives him, that the perception of strength must remain even after death because power echoes through history. Legacy is not about being loved, it is about being remembered, and remembrance is commanded by respect, not affection. You must live as though every move you make carves a line into stone. Your words should resonate as commands, your actions should ripple as lessons, your discipline should stand as an example, and your ruthlessness should serve as a warning. Men will come and go, but few will be remembered, and fewer still will be feared, even in absence. To achieve this, you must act with consistency, never allowing weakness to define you, never permitting betrayal to go unanswered, never letting your name be spoken without weight. A true legacy is not chosen by you. It is imposed on the world by the strength of your presence. The powerful man lives so decisively that his absence is felt as if a pillar has been ripped from the earth. His enemies curse him, his allies respect him, and his rivals envy him, but none forget him. That is the standard you must hold yourself to live untouchable, to walk among men as a figure of respect, fear, and inevitability. Do not aim to be liked, aim to be remembered. Do not aim to be understood, aim to be untouchable. This is your destiny if you embrace the principles of power and reject the illusions of weakness. Remember, the world will either respect you or destroy you, and the only way to guarantee respect is to wield power without hesitation and to embody the discipline of kings. Live with this clarity, and your name will not vanish. It will thunder across time. Comment below, my name will outlive me. And if you are ready to rise above mediocrity, to master Machiavelli's brutal truth, and to become untouchable, then like this video, subscribe to the Machiavellian Mind, and turn on notifications so you never miss the knowledge that separates the respected from the destroyed.